Through the years, I have probably recommended at least 50 patients get the Ponto device from the time it was released. So when talking to patients about which processor to choose between the Ponto 5 Mini and the Ponto 5 Superpower, usually I'm looking at their audiogram first to see how much loss they have, where their bone line is, and I kind of guide them based on that. After that, if they could go either, they're usually looking at the size of the device, and obviously they're wanting to know the capability as far as wireless connectivity and Bluetooth and all of those things, but a lot of it for patients is size. Some of it is battery life too, because they're different battery sizes. So those are typically the things they're looking at when they're trying to decide between the two devices. So my experience fitting the Ponto devices has been very enjoyable overall, especially with these newer Ponto 5 Mini and the Ponto 5 Superpower. I would say most of these patients come in the office. The software is very intuitive. The fittings usually go very well. And I have the patients come back about 4 weeks later for a check, but most of the time after that I don't see them unless there's a problem. And very rarely do I have to make any programming adjustments when they come back. So all around it's just been a really good experience with the Ponto 5 processors in particular. More recently, some of the patients that I have fit with the Ponto 5 Superpower devices, they really are doing well with them, especially even the ones that have been upgraded, from an older processor to the newer one are noting better speech clarity and just happier overall with the sound of it. So I have a patient who is a teacher, and she's an elementary school teacher, and she's had a really hard time being able to hear these small voices in her classroom, and there's about 25 kids in her room. So she just came back in and she was so happy and so excited that she could hear in her classroom and she could distinguish, what was going on in there during the day. I have another patient who is 99 years old, and he was just implanted in the last year, and he has this, it is a profound mixed hearing loss, which is interesting, but he came back recently and he talked about, as did his daughters who were with him, he had just been to a seafood festival of some sort and was so happy. He could hear the band, he could, converse with people. It was really quite remarkable and was very excited about that. So for our colleagues, I would say if you have not heard of the device, or if you haven't been doing any fittings of the Ponto device yourself, I would encourage you to look at it as an option in your clinic and in your practice. There are, at least to educate yourself on the candidacy requirements for it, because sometimes patients end up here and they didn't realize that it was an option when they get here. But I would encourage you just to educate on candidacy, to reach out to your reps. The reps for Oticon have been great. They will come out and see patients with you. They will train you and get you anything you need to get up and running with that. But the overall experience for fitting the Ponto, especially these Ponto 5s, has just really been great. There's been lots of happy tears in the office, which is always a good day, when that happens. And I just have, it's one of my favorite things to do actually, is fitting these devices, just because the majority of the time these patients are so happy.